Right, great to be here. We're here for the first conversation, which is themed Buy Africa or Buy Africa. And the idea, as you know, is a lot of businesses, you're doing business in Africa, in Nigeria, and there is often I won't call it it's a contention between staying within the continent and also going outside. And then we have two great minds who have done both, who have done business in Africa and have also expanded, talk to us about their experiences doing business in Africa and also expanding across Africa. Just a few stats before we get going. Of course, intra-Africa trade is growing year on year. 2023 was almost 200 billion, and but then the fact is, many African countries, many African businesses, the trade within Africa is very little. Africa, or rather Nigeria, which is, you can argue, Nigeria or South Africa, which is Africa's largest economy, does just 15% of its trade within Africa, right? So here we're here to unpack the lessons from doing this. I'll start with E. Uh, so Trump is back. He's been back for a while. From your experience, the tariffs, the changes, how have that affected African businesses? How has that affected your businesses and your business?
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you for having me here. I always like to joke that Trump is my favorite president because I tend to make a lot of money when he's in power. The last time Trump was in power was actually when we started to take in outside capital. So this was in the wake of COVID, and you know, Trump basically made it possible for us through some policy for a lot of people to sort of shift back to investing at home. Um, and we were able to take advantage of that. We raised 10 million in 2 years, and we were able to build a fantastic fund management business that we've now fully returned vintage wise, but we're now trying to get investors back their money on a investment by investment basis. Now, the tariffs have created an even bigger opportunity for us. Because if you actually look at the tariffs, the countries to really care about India, China versus the EU versus Africa, broadly speaking. And the reality is because a lot of the tariffs were indexed against existing trade between our countries and America, we ended up with a lower tariff than those other countries. So China's tariff, I mean, every day the number is changing. So depends on which news report you want to go with. India's tariff is 28%, depending on who you talk to, might be as high as 35%. Nigeria's tariff is 14%, right? So you can do the math and see who tariff economics is affecting. And then the other thing that's actually working really well is that, because of the tariffs and the volatility and the instability, people are actually outflowing dollars from the US and looking for higher yield regions to actually put those dollars in. So now, if you're looking at your treasury at 4.5%, which may even go lower, um, you're looking at Nigeria where any bank will give you an 8% a year yield. You're definitely asking yourself, why would you want to risk your capital in the US versus anywhere else that is paying a much higher yield premium? So just on the math, tariff politics has been fantastic for Africa.
All right, thank you so much. I mean, when you said Africa, I mean, I know there's the currency issue, but yeah, um, given that it stays stable, it does make sense to me.
What currency issue?
I mean, uh, if you're going to put your money in like Africa, like devaluation, if the currency,
Where?
well, I mean, now things are stable in Nigeria and then
Well, look,
Ghana.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it is important to correct this because we have guests and important people here, right? Look, if you put your money in the African currency at the beginning in Nigeria, I would
Yes.
say Nigeria, at the beginning of the year, now you're 34% up.
Yeah.
And you're likely to be fine for the rest of the year, right? If you invested in GT Bank stock at the beginning of the year, you probably made 100% return doing nothing, right? Within the last year.
Yeah.
So What devaluation?
Fair,
Remind me again.
fair enough. The currencies have been stable now, at least this year, right? So I'll
Or
give
more like the dollar has been weaker.
one. Anyway, I look at. Anyways, thank you. So, Bio, Wakana is now live in the US, and a couple other countries. Congrats on that. Um, what are some lessons you've learned from expanding your business, right, across Africa and also globally? How has that been generally? I'm sure the audience will want to know how that's been. And I mean, we see the ads almost. There's no week I don't see a Wakana ad, right? So, it's everywhere.
Thank you for having me. So I think I want to lay the foundation. So he and I had this session where we're supposed to argue about going global or not going global. I was not going global. He was going global. And after our discussion, Wakana went, I think, ballistic after that.
You were crazy.
Yeah, we went to 30 countries after that. And we launched the US. The day we launched the US, we did $1,000 of not sale revenue. I think we did like $5,000 of sale or something like that, or 10,000 that day, and we made $1,000. And I asked myself, what have I been waiting for? Because I have no employee in the US. I pay nothing into the US. All I have is a website that you can shop and you can pay me USD because we built the payment infrastructure to collect USD. I did the same thing in Canada. I did the same thing in Morocco. I did the same thing across multiple countries where we have no physical presence. And it's working. Some of them not still, but I'm there. And the lesson for me was, why wait? We're talking backstage and we talked about the mental block and people telling us that we must all stay in Africa and make Africa great. Yes, I am employing people in Africa. We're paying people in Africa. We're bringing some of the monies we make from outside Africa back into Africa to develop Africa. But the truth is that we need to all go out and venture out to take share because the guys out there are coming into Africa. So why can't I go to the Islands of and take some share? And that's what we are now. I told him we're going to Latin America. We're going to Latin. We're going to go take more share in places where I don't understand the language. Because what do I get?
Thanks to AI. No, I'm glad. I'm glad there are more adherents to this gospel because I was telling him backstage. I said, I've been saying this for years, and we've been doing it for years, right? Andela is a global company. Flutterwave is a global company. Move is a very global company, and I've been sort of, for me, I've been casted as a sellout. It's like, why are you going everywhere? We need to build Africa. You can. I was like, no, this is an act. Trade is an act of warfare. We need to fight for global market share. We have the cost basis to do it. We have the talent to do it. We have the capital environment to do it. If we don't have it, we can build it. So we need to go out there and export. That's how we make Africa great again.
I think the biggest point that you made, and I want to make sure that we iterate, sorry, it happened the last time we chatted too, sorry, is we have the cost base. You see, that cost base is something that we ignore, right? An average employee here, at Wakana, we have a minimum salary. I like to say that every time as I get. We have a minimum salary. Our minimum salary is 311K. So nobody makes less than 311K in the organization, except you're an intern or temporary worker. But if you're a full-time employee, you make 311K minimum. Convert 311K to dollars. It's $200. Who in the world can you pay in the US $200 a month for 30 days of work to do the exact same function? The myth is that the Americans work better than the African. And it's not true.
Not true.
It's not true. It's absolutely not true. And for us is, what he did to me in our conversation was remind me that why not? And remove the fear of loss and find cheaper ways to go abroad. Now, if you go and you want to go set up this fancy office in Dallas,
exactly,
or California, I'm not there.
Don't move like that.
I'm not there because I don't have an office there, but the opportunity is there. And I'll say this, that the market is bigger than Africa, right? The travel market in the US is far bigger than the entire Africa continent as a whole. So why am I fighting a place where the share is small when I can go in a place. And I like what you said about being a warfare. It's war. So let's go.
Yeah, trade is a warfare. Just put that tweet. E2025. Yeah, thank you so much for that. I know we've spoken about that, but I'm curious. I guess some people here were wondering, what's the advice for? I feel like the advice for entrepreneurs is to go out, right, and try. That's what I'm hearing, right?
Okay, I won't say that. I won't say it like that.
Yes,
Because
yes.
I don't like aspire to perspire.
No, no, no.
I won't say it like that. You must first build a solid business and your mothership must be
Yes.
solid.
Yes.
Mothership solid is your technology platform is stable because those part of the world will not forgive you.
No.
Okay? You must have a stable platform. You must have a stable operations. Your back office must be great. Your entire business must be stable. Then you venture out. So it's like one before the other. You cannot put the horse before the cart. You cannot say, when the money I make there, I'll use it to hire people here. It doesn't quite work like that because once that person calls or your call center needs people.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is that build a solid business within Africa. Once you are there, you might be struggling for profitability. You can then start to expand your website with no cost. You must, and for me,
Yeah.
our expansion has been at, I won't say zero cost because, of course, we use more server space, we use more tech deployment, blah, blah. But from a human recurring cost standpoint, I have limited costs in expansion. And that's where we are. And for me, I say that once you have a solid base, go global, man. Go.
Thank you very much. To E, I mean, for the government, as we always wonder, how can, of course, to be stable here, there is a need for enablement. What should the government be thinking? What's one thing that I'm sure you have requests and demands, right?
Well, no, for me, my requests and demands are for entrepreneurs. I like to joke, even with my government friends, that government is an idol. Doesn't see, doesn't hear, doesn't talk. So I don't pray to idols.
We talked about this. We talked about this backstage. I don't abuse government. I love government.
No, it doesn't mean I don't love them. Some of my very best friends are in government. So I can talk about them this way, but I tell them to their faces, look, you guys are idols. I don't pray to you. but I would say, the truth is actually Nigerian government has done a lot to encourage exports. And the biggest problem we've just had is entrepreneurs' mental block. So take, for example, Itono, which is our digital special economic zone. Literally, you're able to build a business that can go global from there and essentially tax-free, right? You go all over the world, make all these millions of dollars in dollars, put it in your bank account, and FIRS cannot ask you a single question about it, right? As they're raising prices on Nigerian businesses with their taxes, you get zero tax-free. Why? Because government is very intentional about what they're trying to do. The minister has set up digital trade desks across all our embassies, both the foreign ministry and the Ministry of Digital Economy. So government is trying to do stuff. It's not that they are not doing anything. Perhaps the only area where they need to get smarter is around building the world-class talent you need to deliver world-class services, because very difficult for one person to do that. And then also building the investment infrastructure that allows people from all over the world to invest in African companies going global. That probably needs some work. But I don't think there are things that the government is not listening to us on. I think the first barrier is for companies like Waka now to become global champions. We need to have global champions. You see Dangote. Dangote, with his oil refinery business, he's going global, right? You look at, we don't have many global champions. The biggest, the stat that keeps me up at night is that in this country, Nigeria, 200 million people, the largest employer of labor is 33,000 people, Dangote. We should all be ashamed of ourselves as entrepreneurs. All of us. All of us.
When I worked at Walmart in
We have a million people.
years ago, we had 1 million employees.
And
What million?
what are they doing? You understand what I'm saying?
Turkey
So,
shells,
do
that-
you understand what I'm saying? So, and you have every year we graduate 600,000 smart people from our universities, right? And we only employ The largest employer of labor in this country only employs 33,000 people. It's a shame.
Largest employer outside of government.
Look, government is not an employer. It's a welfare scheme. I told them I said it. They will know somewhere. So they know me well. Don't worry. They're my friends.
You may have a business that can be bullied. So
you know me, I'm in the air. So they will have to come to Yaba and meet my boys.
yeah. But I think you made a valid point. And I want to go back and talk about education. I think the likes of myself should be forced. Like the government should call us and say, you guys go teach a course in a college close to you. And honestly, almost force, and I mean that sincerely, because the challenge is world-class talent. And I you see, a lot of Nigerians, we are very arrogant and ignorant. We're very arrogant, and when they peel the onion, you have to fire that person. And we're super arrogant people. But the true sense of it is that talent has left this country quite a bit.
Yeah.
The likes of the UK, the US, and Canada has gained a lot of talent. The need for us to continue to capacity build in the nation cannot be overemphasized.
No.
And that's how we don't have to go outside to go look for folks. From tech to people to analytics to data to AI engineering. You know, we're trying to do some work in AI, and the people that we're seeing here, when we start asking them questions, you know, because as you learn for AI, I can do the same. Like, and I think people discount that all the things that you downloaded to come and speak to me, I did the same thing to come and talk to you too. So both of us are on the same page because I'm looking for content.
It's a fantastic way to start. So you invest because so this is what I always say, right? We have to build what we're looking for in talent.
Yeah.
And we have to make a commitment to do it together.
Yeah.
Right? What would it cost us as technology leaders to say, okay, we're going to create AI boot camps, right? Take 1,000 people at a time, train them to be AI experts. Each of us can take half of that class. We won't even be able to use all of them. They can go back into the marketplace. I'm saying this because
once you do that training,
this
is always my challenge. It's not the investment. It's that we train them, they work for you for 2 months, they apply to jobs.
We train another one. Let me tell you, the cost.
But I don't, okay. You know, I don't run a charity, right?
No, I know you don't run a charity.
Okay, good. And because I don't run a charity,
yes,
it means that I'm trying to make sure that if we invest 10 million, 20 million into that program, I want to make sure I get 20 million worth of benefit back.
You will.
Bro.
No, let me tell you why. If you think in scale, you will. If you think in scale, because if you train, look, my mindset is always, look, Andela trained 175,000 developers. It hired in Nigeria, maybe across Africa, maybe 1,000 of them. It hasn't suffered. From that 1,000 developers, it's making like $100 million a year. So it's not. We just have to think in scale. That's why I said we do it together. I'm not asking you to go and do Waka Now School of AI. You understand what I'm saying? But if we come together and think in scale and work together to conquer the global market, like our people, you know what they just did? They did a attack is the best strategy of defense because they realized that, look, if these people figure out how to use their talent, and those people that they're hiring, they're in our companies making the kind of, won't you pay? You pay now. You pay to keep your people. But they figured, these people don't know what they have, so let's just come and bleed them, give them immigration, and let them go.
And most of them that have moved to Canada can't find jobs.
They can't find jobs. They can't find jobs. So they know what they are doing.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing.
And they're stuck there. They can't come back.
I have a Andela fellow. He left us a few years back. At the time he was leaving us, working remotely, he was earning about $5,700 a month, right?
Sorry,
$5,500 a month.
Okay.
He went to Germany. They gave him a higher salary on paper. He takes home $3,600 a month. That's the story of most of our people that went. His cost base is higher. He's just there for the passport. Like I always said, there are smarter ways to get a passport.
You can pay.
You don't even need to pay. I don't like paying. You know why I don't like paying? Because Russians pay too, so you want to be careful.
But the point is that, look, and it goes back to the point that we're making and back to the audience that talent is needed. We need to train. And I agree with you. We need to train at scale. I am willing to train and help and do that. Of course, I want to get benefit I'm
No,
not. I'm
define
not
your
like,
benefits.
I'm not like
Define your benefits.
I'm a one-for-one guy. I like to invest 1 naira, get a million naira out on the other side. Yes, that's what they call business. Um, um, but you see, we must the people listening to us must be also willing to come to the table
Yeah.
to get trained.
That's it.
And we need more people to come to the table to get trained, because I can tell you now, if you want to hire a commercial leader, it is tough in this country. Forget all these technical skills, eh? People that just understand how to buy it at 2 naira and sell it at 100 naira. That understand. I'm not talking about people that understand the math. People that understand the math is even a hard one. And I am willing to train. He is saying he's willing
Yeah,
to train. And those are the things that we need to advance our course. Because again, we need to export our talent. You know, you can live here and make $5,500, right? That's significant. Let's convert it to naira. That's about 9 million naira a month, right?
Yeah.
9 million naira a month is 108 million a year in income. If you make 108 million naira in Nigeria, you're a big boy. You can go to the club and shut it down for real.
Fair enough.
That's how I measure money, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, speaking of what government can do, I mean, one of the things we're having conversations about now is encouraging more people to come back by giving them tax holidays. You understand? So those people that come back want to tell government, look, give them 2 years off so they can settle down. Don't tax them anything, right? And then after 2 years, you can tax them because their income would have
The
gone.
company or the individual.
The individual.
Oh,
The company is already tax-free if they're in the free zone.
who keeps the taxes?
You decide.
Okay.
If your company hires more people, you keep more of your taxes.
I love that. Again, I told E that we were talking backstage quite a bit, and one of the things I said is that I never care about taxes. I pay my taxes because I always believe I need to go out and go make more money. Maybe I'm not making enough,
Yeah.
or maybe
No, trust
I'm
me.
making too much.
I mean, so I'll tell you my own experience with taxes. I'm a Delaware champion. I'm
Yeah.
sure you guys know. And then the other day, I got a significant windfall, and I actually had to look at how much the government was going to take out of my bank account. Picture my surprise when I discovered that America takes 51% of
51,
what I make as a company,
yeah.
right?
I'm not talking about America. I'm talking about Nigeria. So
No,
when
but
I
I'm
talk
just
about
saying that.
taxes,
I don't know,
Nigeria.
but Nigeria was only going to take 10% withholding tax, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, wait, why am I keeping all my assets in America? All of a sudden, Nigeria looks great because Nigeria's top tax bracket is 18%. If you work out of the free zone, if you have any shares in a foreign company, you pay zero capital gains tax. It's the best country in the world.
And that is
Tax
why I don't allow, I never talk bad about Nigeria. Like, and I want to make sure I get this point out. I never speak negatively about Nigeria. Like when I go on TV, I was on TV 2 days ago, and the guy interviewing me wanted to continue to ask me, tell me the challenges. I was like, let me tell you about the opportunity. You see, we must start to shift our mindset to the opportunity that exists here. I'm not saying there's no challenge. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there's no pothole on our roads. But you see, there is a lot more opportunity than we can imagine. I live by Nikkei Art Gallery, and I had to go to that TV station, and I forced my way to take the new coastal road.
Yeah.
It took me 12 minutes to get from Nikkei Art Gallery to Amadou Bello in Silverbed. And I said to myself, somebody then looks back and say, government is doing nothing. At least they've done this one. Let me thank them for it. And I think as citizens, I challenge you all to look at the positive side of Nigeria and talk about the positive side of Nigeria more than the negative side. And you need to be better to our fellow citizens to get our country to be better.
Thank you so much.
I'm pro Nigeria.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. We're pretty much out of time. We'll just wrap it up here because I say any final words. Ooh, probably. But thank
We
you
have
so much.
1 second. Let's use it.
Okay. Any final words?
Well, I think my biggest thing is Nigeria needs global champions. So the biggest challenge for me to you is go out there, make $1 million on the world, come to Nigeria and spend it tax-free.
Anyone? 10 seconds?
My last word to you is that if you don't buy your ticket from Wakana, you're going to miss your flight. In Jesus' name. Everybody should please buy their ticket from wakana.com. If you have family abroad, you should tell them to buy that ticket for wakanow.com. Like I told you, that is how we make these global champions that he's talking about.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.